Tonight we have the results from all 4 WRL Draft Order shows. We have the final scores from the Week 15 of the APBL, and we have a new season-long Pick'em contest coming for you in 2025. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast sponsored by Sport Management Solutions, your one-stop shop for all your athletic communication needs. How is everybody tonight? Hopefully this is working out so far. I know Jason should be out there watching for me right now to give me any in-game advice on what's going on. The reason I say that is we are working off of what we're hoping is going to be improved software versus what we've been doing probably over the last couple of years now, actually. We had been using StreamYard, and StreamYard got smart and decided to start taking some of its services away that were free. Erica out there with us. Let's give this a test. See if it pops up on the screen. It works. Yes. So there's one test. Check. That works. So we've been using it for a couple of years, and StreamYard got smart about what services it was going to offer for free and not. And now for us to do the things that we've been used to doing for the last couple of years, it's going to cost us about $45 a month. So we're trying to cut that cost. So what we're doing is we're using something called OBS, Open Broadcast Software. We've used it in the past. So some of this might look familiar to you as it comes up. I know Paul just said, what's up? And I know Tabitha just said, hey, as well. They haven't showed up on my screen yet for me to be able to put on the screen, so I'm not sure if we lost that feature already just as we got it. I really don't know what's going on. Jason, take notes so we can get ready to write this report when we're all done. There we go. It just takes a little bit. I think it's taken like every 10 or 15 seconds to show up. So there's Paul's message saying, what's up? And there's Tabitha's message about saying, hey. So we got some things working. Just take a little bit to check. Well, that's some settings we're going to have to mess around with. But in the long run, this is going to be better for us because we have a whole lot more freedom of things that we can do with this. Yes, Jason's right. Sometimes it takes a little time for it to pop up over on this side. And I actually think there was a setting that I set on here before we went live that said it would check like every 10, 30, or 60 seconds. And I think I might have set that to 30 seconds, which is why it's taking a little bit for it to get over to me. So there's Jason's message right there. All right, so we said at the top of the show that we've got some topics that we want to go over. And in addition to that, this is part of the improvement or part of the new layout that you're going to see now that we have switched over to OBS. Let us know what you think. So there is our itinerary for the show tonight. We're going to talk about the Loch Ness Draft Order, the Red Dragons, the Cerberus, the Krakens. We're going to talk a little bit about draft dates and times as well. Some of those have kind of come a little bit a ways with people talking on Discord. And then what we also mentioned at the top of the show, we have a new Pick'em, season-long Pick'em contest for you that we are calling, and when I say we, I'll explain it to you who we is here shortly. We're going to call it the FSA Sunday Ticket. Then we also have some APBL scores and updates for you, and then we'll talk about our next broadcast. So the draft order shows, let's start there. So let's talk about the Loch Ness Draft Order show. As you can see coming across the bottom right there on the scrolling marquee, that is your draft order, but we're going to spice that up just a little bit here in just a second. We did have the Loch Ness and the Red Dragons draft order shows on Saturday, and then we had the Cerberus and the Krakens on Sunday. So here's some WRL draft order facts for you. 3 out of the 4 regions had snake eyes. The Cerberus region did not. The 3 out of the 4 regions had locks on them. The Krakens had none. The Loch Ness and the Red Dragons regions had 3 locks each. The Cerberus had 2. And then as far as the first picks go, and you're going to see this here shortly anyways, Loch Ness, the team E-Thugs, the general manager Bruce Nakamoto got the first pick there. In the Red Dragons, it was the Bearcats, Matt Berger. For the Cerberus, it was the Coolidge Scorpions. That's Randy McCarty. And then for the Krakens, it was the Rum Runners, FSA Hall of Fame General Manager Rusty James. So let's go through here and look at it graphically. For what the snake, or for the, Jason said snake eyes over here on the side, and you got me completely distracted by that. Let's put it up there on the screen since you said it, snake eyes. There you go. It looks completely different between the chat on the YouTube studio versus what it looks like in this thing. On your side, it looks like a little duck and eyeballs before we put it up there on the screen. But anyways, here is a full graphic representation of the Loch Ness draft right there. As we said, the E-Thugs got the number 1 pick. You can see your 3 locks on there as well. They went to the number 1, number 2, and number 6 pick. That's the E-Thugs, Mantis Mayhem, and our newest, one of our newest branded teams, Wagyu. On there got the locks. All right, let's move on to the Red Dragons region and looking at their draft order. Like we said, the Bearcats and Matt Berger got the number 1 pick there. Also 3 locks in this region. Number 5, Paul Hare and the Rochester Rabbits. He's on right now. Epidemic Elephants there in number 8. And then the Wildcats in number 10, all getting locks on them. Yeah, Erica, you're not wrong. The whole thing is over, and they're still taunting me with the snake eyes. Jason, let's see what that one looks like since you popped that up. I got to wait for it to pop up on my screen, though. Right now, football is only on one side. The production value interactive features. I'm hoping that you like what you're seeing, Paul. You have to let me know throughout either the show or afterwards. So Jason's little football, this is what it looks like, Jay, so you know what it looks like on your screen. And then, Paul, the production value interactive features. So it is nice, but I'm not going to say that it's easy. You know, let me pop this off the screen here for just a second. We'll take the Red Dragons off and talk about it. So first off, since we're talking about it now, Jason, thank you so much for helping me set this up. Couldn't have done it without my best friend. This is why I need an engineer of this type to help me out with this stuff whenever we go and make changes like this. But yeah, this is, I had to call Jason today, and he needed to talk me off the ledge because there was a point where I was going to put my fist through one of my monitors because it wasn't quite working correctly. And I found out that it takes a little bit of extra work to do this over top of what it would be for StreamYard, to the point where I almost switched back over to StreamYard today and started to pay in the money. But I was like, no, I'm going to wait this out, and we're going to keep working with it. And this is the way we want to go. There's so much more we can do with this, as like Paul just said as well. Furby says, no snake eyes were more epic than the Delta snake eyes. And it's funny, every time we talk about snake eyes, we always have to talk about Delta. If you all don't know what Matt's talking about, go out here on YouTube and see if you can't find the Delta. I guess probably that's the only word you really need to look or do a search for is Delta. And it should pop up, and it'll be the that was when we used to do the defunct Dynasty leagues, and Delta was a league that shouldn't have ever happened in the first place, and the draft order show for it was it's pretty epic enough that it gets brought up every year for sure. Jason, I'm not sure what you put up over there. I'm guessing on one screen it's a dragon. I think that's still a dragon on this side. It is vastly different between the YouTube studio and what we've got on the H2R graphic screen here to do this. So we already saw the Red Dragons. We already talked through that. Let's move over to the Cerberus draft order show. As we said, the Coolidge Scorpions, Randy McCarty, got the number 1 pick there. No snake eyes in the Cerberus region, and only 2 locks, and that came in the number 6 and the number 12 spot. That went to the Lumbermen and the Boss Hogs. And those spots, you can see the rest of the draft order there. And then let's move on to the Kraken's draft order. We said the FSA Hall of Fame member Rusty James got the number 1 pick there with the Rum Runners. And again, there was snake eyes here in the Kraken's region, but they had no locks in this one. I'll let you take a peek at that one for just a second. All right, next thing that we are going to talk about is draft dates and times. So Chris Simpson has been working his butt off for us really, really hard to try to put out polls and ask people what dates are going to be good for them. When can we have this draft and stuff like that. It looks like the Loch Ness region might be pretty locked in for 28 August at 7:30 p.m. East Coast time. But not 100% set in stone, but probably the one that's closest, to be honest with you. The Red Dragons looked like it was going to be on the 30th of August, and then one of their general managers says that they couldn't make it. So that might be getting pushed to the 22nd through the 24th, I guess Friday through Sunday. So we will need to be checking back over with that. It won't be probably until Monday before I dig real hard into it. So among yourselves and with Chris leading the way, if he continues to want to do it, please look at your calendar and find out what doesn't work for you. I hate pushing these into Labor Day because I know that it's like the last thing of the summer for most people, depending on where you live in the country. People like to have family reunions, and it's a 3 or a 4 day for people. I don't want to do it then, but if we have to and everybody agrees to it, we will do it in any region that wants to. So please talk among yourselves and see if you can figure something out. Chris did set up a poll in the Cerberus region, but only 4 out of the 12 people even voted on it. So they're kind of going back to the drawing board, but just before we went live tonight, I noticed that the 31st of August was kind of gaining steam. So we'll have to go back and look at that here shortly. And then Chris also put a poll in the Kraken's channel, but I couldn't see the results of that. And I actually think that was an ongoing poll and it had not been finished up yet. All right. So again, talk among yourself. Let's see what we can make happen with these draft dates. You know, I know people want to do it closer to the season. The Hall of Fame game is on the 31st of July. The opening kickoff is on the 4th of September. So we have the whole month of August. I know people want to push it closer and closer to actual kickoff for cuts, which is all going to happen on one day again this year anyways. And I think that's August 26th, I think is when the cuts are. So if everybody wants to push it from the 27th through the 4th of September, even if you all want to do it on a weeknight, I'm okay with that as well. I just don't know how that plays into everybody else's schedule that's spread out around the country in each one of the particular regions. But again, we'll keep playing with it. Let's figure it out. Hopefully you saw as we were going through each one of those. Hey, I see Jennifer's on there as well. Hopefully her message will pop up here in just a second. As I was going through each one of the draft orders, hopefully you saw the scrolling marquee across the bottom. Like Paul said, the production value, interactive features, he's liking it. So hopefully you noticed all of that. I got another one to show you because we're getting ready to talk about that in the FSA Sunday ticket. So there's Jennifer's message. Let's put her up on the screen. Let's put in FSA Sunday ticket. As you just saw, the camera changed a little bit. Yeah, so here's why. I wanted to add that lower third in there because I worked so hard putting that thing together and what that was going to look like. So what I really wanted for the FSA Sunday ticket was a visual test setup so you could see what it was supposed to look like, how you got there on the new FSA website and all of those things. But we've been prepping so much for this show, switching everything over to OBS, getting away from StreamYard, that has taken all of the free time that we had to and not be able to get the FSA Sunday ticket set up to a point where we can show it to you all this week, but it'll be here next week for you. The idea for the FSA Sunday ticket, I was literally going with the girls on a Girl Scout outing. I think it was to one of the safari places that's here in Georgia. And I came across a TikTok video that these guys come up on my feed every once in a while. And I really like the content that they put out. And one of the things they do is they give the primary colors for different teams. Some of them could be college, some of them could be pro, and not always the 4 big sports that we're thinking of. And when you look at these primary colors, you're supposed to guess what state that these teams are in. Jason says you tease. Very much a tease right now. I apologize because we don't have it ready for everybody to see. So I saw this and I shot it over to Damien, the mad scientist, and I said, hey, I really like that these guys do this. I directly want to steal this idea and start putting it on our show. And he came back with hey, I have an idea. I have this idea for a pick'em contest, but it's going to be a little bit different. It's not you just picking winners and losers. You're going to also have this thing called confidence points to go along with it. I think that's supposed to be lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, that's pretty cute. So the premises of the confidence points is this. You will still have a side-by-side feature of the two teams that are playing. And we're only going to do this. The reason it's called FSA Sunday Ticket, we're only going to use Sunday contests. And here's why. You have to go in and put these in every single week, and you can't put in the following weeks until after that week is over. So to make sure people don't miss out on it, we're only going to do Sundays, and here's why. I would have to have the database lock the games in by Thursday night football, and then you would be unable to change anything. Let's say some big news came out and some quarterback went down hurt or something like that, and you thought, oh, I need to change then. Once we locked it on Thursday night, you would not be able to change it. So what we're going to do is we're going to lock it at like 12:59, 1 o'clock, either 1 minute before kickoff or right at kickoff, and then only Sunday games will count. So Monday night games won't count. Anything that we do in the season, and Saturday, right after opening night on the 4th, there's a game on Friday the 5th. So Sundays and Sundays only. Reason that's important is it comes along with the confidence pick thing. So you've got the two teams. You're going to pick who you think wins. And then the database knows how many games are being played that Sunday. So let's use the first Sunday of the season as an example. We know that there's a Thursday night game, a Friday night game, and a Monday night game. So out of the 32 teams, possibly 16 games, we know that 3 games are being played not on Sunday. So there's 13 games being played on Sunday. You will have from 13 down to 1 as far as confidence points to put on those games. So the game that you think is a lock, I want, let's say it's Cleveland versus Cincinnati, and I want Cincinnati. Cincinnati is my lock. I know that they're going to win. I'm putting my 13 confidence points on them. Whoever you think is your next biggest or best lock, then you would put 12 confidence points on them. All the way down into your team that you're the least comfortable about, you'd put 1 on them. So it's a little bit different than the just straight up pick them and getting 1 point. So at the end of the week, I go into an administrative part of the website and I put who actually did win the game. And then based on your choices, it will do calculations and it will give you a weekly standings and then it will give you a season-long standings. Furby says, man, you know what? I can't put that up on the screen yet. It's in one chat, but not the other, but I will put it up there when it comes up. I love it. Staying true to your colors, man. Nothing wrong with that. So the confidence points could sway. Like the biggest thing is going to be you're never going to be able to catch up. And this was Furby's comment right here was bad choice with Cincinnati because he's such a huge Cleveland Browns fan. If you decide not to play, you're really far behind already because of those confidence points. Because you're getting 13 all the way down to 1. And I can't do the math right now. Somebody could probably do it for me. How many possible points you have there? I think when Damien and I were trying to test it, and it ended up being me and Jason tested it. We just did 1 game in week 1 and 1 game in week 2. But prior to that, I did that entire 13 game schedule, and I set it up where I won every other game, lost all the rest of them. I didn't look at what I set for the confidence points. And I think there was a total of 91 or 93 points just in week 1 that you could possibly get. And I think I got 50 something. So you don't want to miss an opportunity to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to set it up, and whoever wins this, we're kind of going to take it back to like it used to be when we did the NFL playoff challenge before they took that away. You win this FSA Pick'em and the Sunday ticket, and you will get a free entry into the redraft for next year. And there's a possibility that the redraft cost is going to go up for 2026, so this would be a perfect time for you to win a contest like this, so you don't even have to absorb the cost of the increase for 2026. So it's FSA Sunday ticket. What we'll do is I will get it set up for next week for everybody to be able to see a visual representation of what that looks like. But to be able to play this, you have to be a registered member on the new FSA website. So there's another whole wrinkle that we got to add into this. A couple people have figured it out as they've played around with the website. We've put messages out there and headlines out there for stories for the APBL. People have clicked on that link and they've kind of messed around with the website and realized that they could register for it. I will tell you how to do it verbally, and then we will show you again next week as we're getting ready to show you the example of how to do the FSA Sunday ticket. If you go to the new FSA page, the test page, and we're going to continue just using it as a test page all of 2025. That way we can wrinkle out any bugs that we have or anything like that, any rough spots, add any API call features from MFL over. If we have problems with it, we know we've got time to fix it and stuff like that. But this is the only way you're going to be able to do the FSA Sunday ticket. You have to register for the website. So if you go to it on a desktop, a tablet, I guess, works as well. A little bit different on the phone because mobile is a little bit different. There's a hamburger menu, blue FSA blue hamburger menu. That's the 3 little lines. That's what that's called. You click on it, and there will be a login and a register page that will pop up there. Register yourself as a coach. I think as a choice, coach and only a coach. And then let me know in some way, shape, or form that you have registered, because then what I have to do is connect you to all of the teams that you belong to under the FSA umbrella. For right now, that's just the APBL, APFL, and the WRL. I can connect you to all of them. Once you're connected, you will get additional features because you are now connected to the new website. One of which is the My Dashboard, which I will go into that next week as well. But the FSA, there's a link that will come up. It'll say FSA Plus. It'll be the furthest right side of the nav menu. FSA in white, the plus symbol in the FSA blue. You mouse over it, you click on that, and then that will take you to the Pick'em Challenge. Right now, another reason I can't show it to you is there's no games put into the database right now. No real NFL games put in there. We had it set up for Damien and I to test it. I reduced the size of it for Jason and I to test it, and then I took all of our choices out of there that for the people who have been testing it with me. So we're down to a blank slate. But with that blank slate, I have to add the NFL games in there for you to be able to choose. So by next week, when we do this show, and I'm showing you how to register, and I'm showing you how to get to FSA Plus, and I'm showing you how to do the FSA Sunday ticket, it will all be there, and I'll be able to show it to you on the screen. It'll also teach us something that we don't really know how to do with OBS yet, and be able to show that to you all by next week. So give us a week to get it all done, and then you guys will see it. And I know that was kind of diarrhea of the mouth trying to explain all of that to you, but hopefully you get it. If you have questions, ask them now while we're live, or hit me up on Discord after the show's over, and I'll explain anything to you there as well. That takes care of any football information we have. Now we're going to shift gears, and we're going to go to baseball. Reason being is we're not going to be able to do the 7th inning stretch on Friday. I'm taking my last vacation of the year. I'm going to Jekyll Island. I'm going to be there Thursday through Monday, or Thursday through Sunday, and then be back. And then we are in full blast, get ready for school mode after that, because the girls go back to school the following Monday on the 4th of August. So crazy times. Summer's almost over. We always go to Jekyll Island for our last hurrah for the summer, so we're going to do it again this year. So I want you to notice something as I switch over to the next scene. We're shifting away from football news right now, and we're going to baseball news. Look in the upper right-hand corner. Walter goes away. The 7th inning stretch logo comes up. Going to see a couple of things right now. The scrolling marquee that you see across the bottom of the screen is the Week 16 points as they are right now. And when I say right now, it was as of this afternoon while we were putting this together. Any of the games that were played today are not included in this score right now, so don't freak out when you're trying to figure out why it doesn't match what it shows on Yahoo. Big things to highlight here so far. San Francisco still giving it to Cincinnati all the time. Beat them in the championship last year. Gave Cincinnati their first loss this year. Cincinnati just cannot get around San Francisco, it seems like. Baltimore up on the Angels right now, 55-50. That's a pretty big deal. Boston and Cleveland tied at 81 each. Jason, you're tied right now. And then Texas up over Toronto, big right now. And then another big surprise right now, the White Sox up on Detroit. Now, of course, this was before all games happened today. White Sox up on Detroit, 100-85. Let's see. Yeah, and let's see if it pops up over here. Matt, you're not wrong. It is really weird for them to start that early down here. I mean, not weird like this is a different thing for the year. it's always this time of the year down here in Georgia. You know, when we're in Ohio, we're so used to starting on the Wednesday just before. So we don't start school until the first week of September out here. See, that makes more sense. It's a couple schools of thought, especially in Ohio, between below the college level and above the college level, or at the college level. We always started in, like, from high school down, the Wednesday before Labor Day. So we would go to school on Wednesday. We'd come right out of that very first Monday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we would already have a 3-day weekend. And then the same thing at Christmas, or at Christmas time after New Year's, we'd always start the Wednesday just before Martin Luther King weekend, and then we would have that first day off. I know that that's how it was for me in college as well, but I also worked on semesters, and I know my sister went to a university that was on quarters, and they always waited until after Labor Day before they started. And I actually think that they waited until after Martin Luther King weekend before they went back as well. So you guys start the Wednesday before Labor Day up there, Katie. See, that makes sense. That's what I'm used to, right? Jason says that Kettering is going to start on August 15th, which, you know, for us that are in Ohio, at least my area of Ohio, even 15th seems a little early. So for them to go on the 4th is super early. 2 months of summer, that's it. So it's crazy. So too much of that right now. Let's get into, so we went over the week 16 scores already for the week. Let's go back to week 15, though. Week 15 was the kind of non-traditional week for us in fantasy baseball because it included the All-Star break that was in there. So there was 4 days where nobody was playing baseball. So that date started on like the Monday before All-Star, and then we get through that weekend. Then All-Star Home Run Derby was on Monday, and then they had the shenanigans, the game on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Thursday, everybody was off, and we picked back up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So scores for that, I wanted to go through each one of those. So let's get to it. Let's talk about this very first game. Baltimore Orioles pulled off the biggest upset of the APBL season, edging out the league-leading Yankees by just 3 points in a game that came down to the final innings. A disastrous -20 performance from the New York Yankees starter Mackenzie Gore on Sunday sealed the Orioles' win. It snapped the Yankees' momentum and gave Baltimore a much-needed spark as the playoff picture begins to tighten. Then in the next game that we had, Cincinnati ends up knocking off St. Louis. That was the Reds' 4th straight win and also the second highest score of the week. Then we have Atlanta versus Cleveland. Atlanta delivered a 153-point blowout, one of the most dominant wins so far of the season. Atlanta continues to keep their pace with the top-tier teams. Cleveland dropped to 3-12. Los Angeles Angels. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over one there. How did the Cubs get in there? Chicago Cubs versus the White Sox. I got something confused in here. Chicago Cubs versus the White Sox. They had a tie earlier this year. No tie this time. Cubs dominated from start to finish, handing the White Sox their 6th straight loss of the year. Let's now talk about those Angels beating the San Francisco Giants. Angels top scoring team of the week. It looks like they're peaking at the right time as we're getting ready to get down to this playoff push. Detroit Tigers versus the Toronto Blue Jays. Tigers officially the hottest team in the league right now, winners of 5 straight. And they've surged from the bottom half to legit playoff contender status in their league. And then the final game to talk about is the Texas Rangers versus the Boston Red Sox. Rangers stayed tied near the top with a controlled win over the scrappy Red Sox, holding on to a late Boston push thanks to strong weekend bats. So, Katie, if you're still out there, congratulations. Let me know what you thought about the graphics tonight as well for the APBL scores. Reason I say that is that's one of the big projects that I've been working on really, really hard is to get the database interaction on the FSA admin page to automatically do box scores for me with graphics, so I no longer have to go out to box out and create them one at a time. I literally go in there and I tell it, I want it to look like this. I need it for this week's game, and I need it for this matchup between these two teams. And I click on a button, and in that database, it's able to pull the score. It's able to tell me who won. When it knows who won, that's how it brands the graphic, and then it also puts the celebration image in there for me as well. And it's literally, instead of me going over and spending 10 to 15 minutes and box out, and I have to still go out and add the score to all of that and the different team names and all of that stuff, I literally just come in here on our stuff now, click a button, and it creates it for me. So that's pretty cool. Just copy paste to put it into this stuff. Paul's talking about all the nice stuff tonight. Yeah, this is gonna be a nice step up for us. One more thing I want to talk about in the APBL before we talk about our next broadcast. I mentioned it last week, but it should be mentioned again probably every week, especially when we start back with the 7th inning stretch on Fridays. The APBL playoffs. I want everybody that's in the APBL to understand the way that the playoffs are set up in Yahoo is incorrect. What Yahoo is doing is it's just taking the top 6 best teams regardless of whether you're in the AL or the NL. The playoff is intended for it to take the top 3 teams from the AL and the top 3 teams from the NL, and the top team in each one of those gets the first round bye. Last year, it did the same thing. We set it to put the correct teams in the playoffs just before the playoffs happened. So we will do that again now. So as you're looking at the standings and then you click on playoffs in Yahoo, don't freak out when you say, oh, but it's only taking the Yankees from the AL side when it should be taking 2 other teams. You're right. It should be taking 2 other teams. So if you're in the top 3 in either one of those, you are right now playoff bound. So as we get closer, we will probably put a graphic together, and every week we will update that. And that'll probably not happen until the following Friday when we get back to doing the 7th inning stretch again. All right, next broadcast. That's not what I wanted you all to see. So I did not get that right. Give me just a second. There we go. Next broadcast. Art changed in the upper right-hand corner. You got a little preview you weren't supposed to see yet. We will be back next Wednesday, the 30th, 8:30 p.m. East Coast time, just like our regular schedule tonight. Hopefully with some more draft dates and times for you for the WRL drafts. We will have a full version of what the FSA Sunday ticket looks like and how you need to go in and register yourself for the new website. Let me know that you're registered so I can go in and add you to the teams that you need to go into. There's going to be a better way of getting that so it's a little bit more automated so you all don't have to wait on me to connect you to your teams, but we don't know how to do that yet. So give us a little bit of time to work through that. It's kind of what 2025 is all about. So we can do that. I would be lost if you had a video switcher like that. I would love to, if there was a push of a button instead of, I don't know, I'm looking around at 2 different monitors, 4 different windows, and also thinking that maybe I still need to turn on the TV up there to move something over to make sure that this all works. But what happens if a third team is tied? Good question. Let's wait to see if it happens. I want to get a consensus. We never really did put it in the rules. Do we do head-to-head? Which will be kind of weird to do because if there's a tie, it's going to be a tie inside your own league, American League or National League. And I think the way that the schedule was set up by Yahoo, you play everybody inside yours twice. So it's a very good possibility that we could still have a tie at the end of that anyways if you guys split the series for the season and went 1-1. In this case, I think probably the better way to do it is most points scored. It's kind of the point of why you're playing fantasy. So let's get to that point and see if it happens or not. The crazier thing that happened last year was in the first round of the playoffs, we had a tie. So this is the second year for APBL, first year tie in the playoffs of the first round. And then I think it was week 5 was when Chicago played against each other, the Cubs and the White Sox, and that there was a tie. So right now you're tied with Atlanta. I'd have to go back and see what that looks like right now. But I do believe, if memory serves me right, your ahead of him in points scored, right? Because I know Atlanta's got a really good record, but I don't think they are really great in points scored. So if we did, in fact, go with points scored, that's the way I'm leaning, and there was a tie, it would go to you right now. But I thought it goes who's in first on our side? Does it go Atlanta, then you, then me? Or is it me, Atlanta, you? If there's a tie for the two of you at second and third, it wouldn't matter. You guys would play against each other because the first team gets the bye. I think I'd be more worried right now. I think MJ's in fourth, so she could be the one that turns around if there's a tie with her good amount of points, especially with her being the highest scoring team last week. Yankees is not on our side. Yankees is number one on the other side. So I'm talking top three in each one of the divisions. So you have to worry about a tie inside your own league, AL or NL. Don't worry about the other side. Doesn't matter if you're not playing in that one. So next broadcast, July 30th, 8:30 East Coast time, 8:30 p.m. East Coast time. Draft dates and times, and we'll show you how to do the NFL Sunday ticket. And then this is what I wanted to show everybody. I do want to thank everybody for watching the Fanatically Real broadcast sponsored by Sport Management Solutions. Hopefully you all liked this tonight. Please give us comments and feedback of what you thought of this. Jason, I'm really looking forward to whatever you got for me tonight after we get done doing the stream tonight. Thank you to our sponsors. We've already mentioned Sport Management Solutions a couple of times tonight. And also thank you to the Recast, the official music of FSA. Love that we have their intro music back at the beginning. It was actually one of the hardest pushes of why I needed to get to something that we could get them on again, because what good is having them as a sponsor if we can't display their music every single week? And it just gets me hyped before I get ready to do this show. I love hearing that song. So if you did like the show tonight, don't forget to hit the little button on your way out. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the subscribe button. Make sure that if you did like tonight's show, make sure you go out, like, share, follow, subscribe. Go out to all of our social media outlets. They've been down there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen the whole time. We're on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube. We're even on, what's the little @ symbol that they have now? It's not Reels, it's Threads. We're on that as well. It automatically goes from Instagram over to Threads. I figured because of that we didn't need to put them on here as well. But we're on Threads if you're a user of that. And hey, we're even on Lemon 8. We just haven't put any content on there, and it's crazy we have almost 900 followers over there and no content. So follow us on everything. We will be back next Wednesday. Make sure you let us know what you thought about tonight's show, and then we'll see you next week. We will text you from the road starting tomorrow. Y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday night.